begs a lot of questions. Who am I? What am I? What is it all to become? Some questions have an intrinsic level of philosophy in it. Others are much more basic. Which leads me to my question: why on earth did I bought another Rolleiflex? This is my Rollei cord, and I bought it more than a decade ago and costed me around €130. This was my very first TLR, which I use extensively, roll after roll after roll after roll. This one here is my second Rollei cord, much older than the previous one. This one is from the early 30s and still works as a charm because it does have Zeiss Tesser lens. This is a Rolleiflex, and I bought it a few months ago to a very shady character for just €200. Please do notice that most of the Rolleiflex, they go around from €500 to €1,100. This next one is my workhorse. My Rolleiflex that several times goes out in the street with me, completely pipped up with a real red button like a Leica. But on what concerns quality, image quality, that means this little one beats the German sister to a pulp. And as a matter of fact, all the lenses that are here on these cameras, they are all superb lenses. This camera costed me almost 10 years ago around €340. This leading to a question: why the fifth Rollei or the third Rolleiflex? And the answer is stupidly simple. See, she was being sold in a physical auction by a seller who did not know the price. A normal Rolleiflex like this, like I said before, goes between €500 to €1,100. I bought this one for €135. Now those people that know Rolleiflex know that the aperture and the shutter buttons are normally in black. What happens with this model, and the one that I've shown you before and you haven't noticed most likely, is that these are very rare models which have both buttons in white. Millions and millions of Rolleiflexes that were produced, only 20,000 units have these white dots. The rest are the normal standard black ones. Nevertheless, don't think that this is the one called white face Rolleiflex, because it isn't. The white face Rolleiflex is another model, which was produced several decades after the camera that I just bought. So this is what I found out of this brand new Rolleiflex that costed me €135. The loop, the internal loop is missing. It should be somewhere here and it would flip out, she's missing. There would be what they back then called the sports view. And there would be a contraption here, and this would be a part where another mirror would be. The contraption is not there and the mirror is also missing. But here I don't use this, well, I never used this on any Rolleiflex, but I used a lot of the loop, which is a shame that she's missing. This lever is not the original lever because it doesn't close. And this part here is out of alignment. She's slightly upwards. And somebody has been tempering around with this screw and this screw. You can see scratch marks here of somebody being unscrewing it. And apart from this and this, the lenses are okay. And I've tested it several times with my test roll, and she's pulling the roll fine. And she's winding and doing everything as it should. So I'm going to put a fresh new roll inside, and I'm going to take it out for a spin and see how she fares. Now, loading the Rolleiflex is pretty much a straightforward job. You push this knob, you open the flap and you open the back, you pick up the last spool used, take it out, put it on top, like so, close, pick up a fresh new roll, insert it on the lower part. Now the fresh new roll passes underneath that small feeler. That's the feeler that feels a new film coming in and feels the tape that is connected between the film itself and the backing paper. Pull the film to the upper spool, you start to rotate the crank, and pay attention because the film and the backing paper need to be underneath this small roller that I'm showing. Then you close the back, close the lever and start to rotate the crank. And as this is an automat model, she will immediately stop at number 1. Then, when she stops, rotate the crank counterclockwise, therefore arming the shutter, and that's it. She's now showing you number 1, and you're ready to shoot and ready to go out in the street. So we're out and about to an old abandoned mill that used to be my playground when I was a kid, and now is just in complete tatters and ruins. And initially I could go for the full spectrum of speeds of the shutter, meaning from 1 second to 1/500 of a second, but I noticed that she was a bit sticky between the 250 and the 500. I later found out on the 6th image, I think, that it was no longer possible to pass to over the 250. So I was literally stuck between 1 second and 1/250th of a second, not being able to reach 1/500 of a second. This unfortunately means that the machine needs proper professional care. So this old mill used to be my playground, and in the past I used to have a motorcycle and I would run around the mill in a track, a motocross, amateur motocross track that was around this mill prior to the existence of the houses. So I've spent a lot, but really a lot of time around the mill and around this place itself, normally racing like a madman. So it's with some concern that I see this place completely vandalized and used for other motives besides photography and whatever people do there in the middle of the night. Which, for obvious reasons, I'm going to leave it at your own guesswork, besides having to promote this channel as an adult channel. And in my past, when I was 6, 7, until I was 11, this mill had the first floor still in wood, still perfectly visitable and being able to reach that little window that you saw. But back to the Rolleiflex. She takes absolutely normal pictures as one would expect from a Rolleiflex. She's not as contrasty as the other ones that I do have, but this has to do with the design of the lens, which was then improved. In low light, like this case, and given the fact that this is a leaf shutter, it's easier to do photography rather than a normal DSLR focal plane shutter. The reason behind this is that the shutter opens itself in the middle, expands and then closes itself. It doesn't go up, down, left, right, therefore being much more stable than a normal shutter is. So take these pictures just as me trying to show you how the Rolleiflex works and the results that you can expect from a Rolleiflex, because these are really photos not for the portfolio. These are just tryout images to see if everything is fine, if I would need anything else besides unblocking the 1/500 of a second. And in the end, she's actually a very joy to use because, well, being a Rolleiflex already attracts attentions, but she is in itself a little piece of art just for the looks of it. It's very, very hard to pass by and not to look and admire the unique looks of a Rolleiflex. So this has become my 5th Rollei, my 3rd Rolleiflex. This is a keeper, although I will have to do some maintenance and I will have to send it to somebody else who knows more of this than I do. Because I know how to use them, I know how to moderately clean them, I don't know how to disassemble them, and as a matter of fact I will not even try to disassemble them because there are no spare parts available. And this ends about today's video. Once more, many thanks. Please do hit the subscribe button down below, and I will see you next time.